Did you hear that? Another wave of gas is coming through. Damn Germans never let up.
Yeah, I know. First the artillery, now the gas. It's like they've got a new trick up their sleeve every week. I swear, there's always something worse.
Tell me about it. Those shells don't stop. It's as if the sky itself is against us. And the machine guns, hell, those things rattle your bones.
Machine guns. Yeah. Makes you feel like you're always one step away from the end. I heard the Germans have got these new ones. Luger pistols, too. Faster than any I've seen before. Makes our rifles feel like toys.
And those flamethrowers, I can still hear the screams from that last raid. Those fire-breathing devils don't just kill you, they make sure you feel it. I'll never forget those sounds.
Yeah, it's all about fear. Not just the weapons, but the waiting, the silence, the uncertainty. It almost drives you mad.
I'll take the silence any day. At least it means we're not under fire, but don't worry, I've got a little something for them if they get too close. This bayonet is ready and waiting.
Do you hear that? It sounds like planes overhead again. Oh God.
Not those fucking darts again. The damn things haunt me in my dreams.
Dirt is thick, it clings to my skin. The ground, it rumbles from the chaos within. Steel birds screaming through a smoky sky. Somewhere a whisper says tonight we die. Boom goes the roar of the cannon's cry. Silence fills the night sky. Rifles cracking like the devil's hymn. Trapped in these trenches, no way to win. Mud and madness become my friend. Tomorrow feels like a phantom trend. Shrapnel kisses the earth's broken frame. A chessboard of soldiers lost to the game. Boom goes the roar of the cannon's cry. Gas clouds roll, silence fills the night sky. Rifles cracking like the devil's hymn. Trapped in these trenches, no way to win. Boots in like a curse so deep. In the trenches where the lost souls creep, fear whispers loud through the choking air. Death's icy grip waits everywhere. Shells rain down like a devil's song. The night is endless, the days are wrong. Gas creeps silent like a phantom's breath. No escape from this dance with death, mud and shadows, dreams torn apart. A soldier's burden, a heavy heart. Suffering echoes through the soil and stone. In the horrors of war, we're all alone. Rats feast boldly where men have died. Hope feels distant, swallowed by pride. The letters from home, a fading light, as denial shields us from the fight. A flash of fire, a deafening scream. Life unravels like a broken dream. The sky turns red, the earth turns black. There's no retreat, no turning back. Mud and shadows, dreams torn apart. A soldier's burden, a heavy heart. Suffering echoes through the soil and stone. In the horrors of war, we're all ghostly mist crawls on the ground below. Men whisper secrets only the dark should know. Mud and metal, the earth mourns loud. The sky won't open, it hides in cloud. Machine tongue singing their metallic cry as the dirt and the darkness kiss the sky. Gas drips off like death's unseen hand, choking out life in a devil's cold demand. The trench breathes memories of blood and bone. You're never more together, yet still alone. A rifle's bark, it echoes in vain. Your name stitched tied to a claw-stained pane. The iron beast roars, the ground it cracks. The shadows scream, but they don't turn back. Shells explode in a starlit cascade. The moon turns red, its face is afraid. Machine tongue singing their metallic cry as the dirt and the darkness kiss the sky.
She's ready, Bullard. Patched the wing, checked the engine twice. She'll fly straight. Now you just come back the same.
Thanks, Jack. She's got more heart in her than half the pilots out there. That engine hum feels down there.
Home is down here, mon ami. Up there, it's bullets and fire.
I know, but up there, I'm just a man in the sky. Not black, not different, just fast and hopefully lucky.
Then fly like the devil, Eugene. And when you land, I'll have your drink waiting.
Make it two. I plan on giving them hell.
Enrico, do you really think this reactor will sustain a chain reaction?
Not only do I think it will, I've calculated the odds. The neutron multiplication factor is greater than 1.
Still, it feels like we're balancing on a knife's edge.
Science often does. But with the right equations, the knife becomes a ruler.
And if it doesn't work?
Then we learn something new. Either way, physics wins.
Steel mines cracking at the dawn of fate. Man's fire burned beneath the chain link gate. Splitting atoms like a gambler's dice. Fusion's him built on sacrifice. Fermi's fingers on the switch of light. Neutrons dancing in the endless night. Feeding stars in a man-made core. From the lab's heart to the heavens door. Oh, Fermi, you lit the sky. A nucleus of fire we can't deny. Chase the storm to the reactor's glow. Hell or heaven, only we could know. Lab coat soaked in the sweat of truth. Silent prayers whispered for the test is proof. Chained reaction screaming wild, untamed. The devil's gamble in your holy name. The pyros in the numbers screamed. Dreams of power or a fractured dream. Locked inside that energy hum. The fuse was lit, it had begun. Oh, Fermi, you lit the sky. A nucleus of fire that never dies. The stars now echo with your glow. A trail of light in the shadow below. iron to demand, bronze and blade to pierce the dark, blood painted cave walls, man's twisted art. Fingers on the trigger, hearts they linger. Progress bleeds quicker, shadows grow bigger. Weapons rise like the burning sun. Man chases power till the race is done. Iron forged from the breath of fire, steel cuts through the quaking choir. Gunpowder's kiss echoes the year, clashes of thunder feed the fear. Fingers on the trigger, hearts they linger. Progress bleeds quicker, shadows grow bigger. Weapons rise like the burning sun. Man chases power till the race is done. Cold metal hums, whispers from below. Twist of physics, let the atom blow. Ash turns to skyline, rain never cleans. The end of armies, the start of screams. Fingers on the trigger, hearts they linger. Progress bleeds quicker, shadows grow bigger. Weapons rise like the burning sun. Man chases power till the race is done.
What General Weygand has called the Battle of France is over. The Battle of Britain is about to begin. Upon this battle depends the survival of Christian civilization. Upon it depends our own British life and the long continuity of our institutions and our empire. The whole fury and might of the enemy must very soon be turned on us. Hitler knows that he will have to break us in this island or lose the war. If we can stand up to him, all Europe may be freed, and the life of the world may move forward into broad, sunlit upland. But if we fail, then the whole world, including the United States, including all that we have known and cared for, will sink into the abyss of a new dark age, made more sinister and perhaps more protracted by the lights of perverted science. Let us therefore brace ourselves to our duty, so bear ourselves that if the British Empire and its commonwealths last for 1,000 years, men will still say, this was their finest hour. have myself full confidence that if all do their duty, if nothing is neglected, and if the best arrangements are made, as they are being made, we shall prove ourselves once more able to defend our island home, to ride out the storm of war, and to outlive the menace of tyranny, if necessary for years, if necessary alone. At any rate, that is what we are going to try to do. That is the resolve of His Majesty's government, every man of them. That is the will of Parliament and the nation. The British Empire and the French Republic, linked together in their cause and in their need, will defend to the death their native soil, aiding each other like good comrades to the utmost of their strength. We shall go on to the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender. And if, which I do not for a moment believe, this island or a large part of it were subjugated and starving, then our empire beyond the seas, armed and guarded by the British fleet, would carry on the struggle until, in God's good time, the new world, with all its power and might, steps forth to the rescue and the liberation of the old.
Engines roar through the morning haze, steel birds hunting in a fiery blaze, wings of courage cutting through the fight. In the clouds they dance to claim the night. Screaming sirens tear the fragile air, metal hawks with hearts that never scare. Crack of guns, the flash of flame gone wide. In the skies where angels and devils collide. Fire in the sky, war on the wind. Who will fall? Who will defend? Steel meets steel where the eagles cry. Victory or death, fire in the sky. Ghosts in cockpits where the shadows dwell, sentinels of heaven's rays in hell. Mortal men on wings that tear through dawn, their fight eternal long after they're gone. Clouds burn red in the setting sun, the battle's never over, it's never done. Smoke trails spiral like a dying breath, every shadow on the ground holds death. Fire in the sky, war on the wind. Who
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
In the morning's dread, the sky whispers sharp where angels bled. Metal screams loud as vengeance roars. Justice hovers high with iron swords. Fire raining down from the heavens wide. A storm of steel in the crimson tide. Thunder rolls where the brave hearts lie. Pearl shudders beneath the burning sky. No warnings clear. Engines wail loud, caught the silent sheer. Wings cut the clouds with a vengeful cry. Bold echoes clash, no time to deny. Fire raining down from the heavens wide. A storm of steel in the crimson tide. A thunder rolls where the brave hearts lie. Pearl shudders beneath the burning sky. Shadows fall, but the ground it shakes. A reckoning blooms, the spirit wakes. Through chaos and ash, the phoenix calls to rise where tyranny ignites its squalls. Screaming through the sky so vast. A peaceful dawn shattered by the past. Echoes rise from the harbor deep. Voices awake from a restless sleep. Burning fire, the sky runs red. The honor lost will not stay dead. Fury carved in the heart of the tide. Smoke and ash where the hopes collide. Battleships bow in a twisted prayer. A nation's heart breaks in the open air. Echoes rise from the heart must evolve through shadows cast by broken trust. The fight will rise from ash and dust. Echoes rise from the harbor deep. Voices awake from a restless sleep. Burning fire, the sky runs red. The honor lost will not stay dead. Smoke rises thick, blotting out the sun. Morning shattered as the war begun. Arizona swallowed by the waves. So many souls sent to watery graves. December's cry
Spruance, this is Fletcher. Looks like the Japanese are moving just as Intel predicted. Are you ready?
We're ready, Jack. Enterprise and Hornet have their strike groups fueled and armed. Just waiting on your go.
Yorktown is patched up and back in the fight. Amazing what a few days in Pearl can do. I'll take tactical control once we sight the enemy.
Understood. You think they'll hit Midway first or sweep east toward us?
They'll hit Midway. We wait for their carriers to show their hand. Then we strike hard, no half measures.
Agreed. We catch them with decks full of planes, we might just turn this war around.
One good shot's all we need. Let's make it count. Good luck, Ray.
And to you, Jack. See you on the other side.
Engines roaring, sky ablaze. Metal birds in a deadly maze. Waves below a rolling grave. Fight for freedom, heart so brave. Screaming steel, the skies ignite. Dive bombers falling from the height. Midway's fury, endless fight. Heroes born in darkest night. Ships on fire, the ocean's tears. Echo shatter soldiers' fears. Flames consume the iron beast. Hungry sky claims its feast. Screaming steel, the skies ignite. Dive bombers falling from the height. Midway's fury, endless fight. Heroes born in darkest night. deep. Their ghost in silence forever sleep. Never call me a hero, I flew for the fight. Just a man in the cockpit chasing the light. Through the storm, through the blaze, I carved the sky. Wings of dusty Clyde will never die. In the roar of engines, the truth was clear. No room for glory, no place for fear. Dive through smoke where death aligns. Midway's echo stand the test of time. The waves would whisper the tale of war, of the planes that screamed and the hearts they tore. A name etched deep in history's frame, but Dusty Clyde never sought the fame. Never call me a hero, I flew for the fight. Just a man in the cockpit chasing the light. Through the storm, through the blaze, I carved the sky. Wings of Dusty Clyde will never die.
The bombardment of uranium-238 worked. The new element works. Element number 94. It's a heavy isotope. We're calling it plutonium.
We can use this tech. We can make a weapon that no one can match.
But should we? Once we open Pandora's box, it can't be closed again. Ever.
We need this. We can still win this war. We'll worry about that later. For now, we move forward.
If you say so.
These numbers confirm it, Robert. If everything goes as planned, the yield could be beyond anything we predicted last year.
Yes, it's no longer theoretical, it's real. The weapon we're building, it will change the world.
And not necessarily for the better.
I know. There are days I wonder whether we're saving lives by ending this war, or condemning humanity to live forever in its shadow.
But if we don't build it, someone else will. You've said that yourself.
I have, but knowing that doesn't make the burden lighter.
History won't wait for our conscience, Robert. We finished the work, then let the world decide what to do with it.
Let's just hope the world is wiser than we were.
nation shakes where truth is killed. Men in white coats with fire in their veins, chasing gods with a mortal chain. Power born in the heart of flame, ash to ash it burns the same. Oppenheimer cast a fiery glow, the bomb's shadow where the sun won't show. Split the world and the silence screams, a dream of progress turned to shattered dreams. Sand turns to glass where the test begins. Tick-tock counting the weight of sins. A button pressed and then a roar. The world can't go back to what it was before. What have we done, oh gods, we cry? Built a sun to scorch the sky. History weeps and the pages sear. Man's darkest hour, oh it starts here. Oppenheimer cast a fiery glow, the bomb's shadow where the sun won't show. Split the world and the silence screams, a dream of progress turned to shattered dreams. Oppenheimer cast a fiery glow, the bomb's shadow where the sun won't show. Split the world and the silence screams, a dream of progress turned to shattered dreams.
Hans, I've been thinking we should ask him about the bomb, about what we're doing.
You mean for advice? You know he's not part of this project.
Yes, but he saw further than any of us long before this. He warned Roosevelt, remember? He helped start all of this.
And now he regrets it. He's a pacifist at heart. If we ask, I'm not sure we'll like what he says.
That may be exactly why we should.
All right, let's ask Uncle Al.
He scribbled thoughts in the chaos of night, numbers twisting in a fevered fight. Einstein's brain, a storm in the void, a ticking clock, his theories toyed. A world unbound by the speed of light, metamorphs in a blinding flight. Equations whispered in the devil's ear, the bomb, a breath of mankind's fear. Equals madness, power untamed. The world goes silent, nothing to say. Man and machine at the mercy of truth. Einstein's flame rips apart the youth. In the glow of splitting gods we stare. Einstein's ghost lingers in the air. The father of knowledge, blood on his sleeve. Did he see what his brilliance would leave? Equals madness, power untamed. The world goes silent, nothing to say. Man and machine at the mercy of truth. Einstein's flame rips apart the youth.
Gentlemen, we are nearing victory in Europe. But tell me, what becomes of the German scientific minds behind their rockets and weapons?
Sir, our intelligence reports confirm that German scientists, particularly those from Peenemünde, possess knowledge decades ahead in rocketry. If we don't act, the Soviets will.
He's right, Mr. President. Werner von Braun and his team developed the V-2 rocket. That technology could shape the future, civilian or military.
You're proposing we bring them here, after all they've done?
With due screening, yes. We can't allow this expertise to fall behind the Iron Curtain. The future of warfare, and perhaps peace, depends on it.
Morally troubling, but strategically sound. Begin drafting the protocols, quietly. This must remain under the radar, for now.
Understood, sir. We'll proceed with discretion.
God help us if we're building tomorrow's world with yesterday's enemies.
Mussolini is dead, executed by his own people, and Hitler has taken his own life in Berlin. And now, Germany has surrendered unconditionally. The war in Europe is finished.
We've waited a long time to hear those words. The boys did it. From Normandy to the Rhine, they pushed through hell.
About damn time. I'd have marched straight to Moscow if they'd let me.
I figured you might say that, George. But let's not start the next war before this one's properly buried.
It was a joint effort, American grit, British resolve, and no small measure of luck.
Indeed. But now the real work begins. Rebuilding Europe. keeping the peace, and honoring every man and woman that gave their lives to get us here.
The cost was high, but freedom was worth it.
Let's make damn sure we never forget what it cost.
Agreed. And let's make sure this never happens again. Now we turn our eyes to the Pacific.
They came across the shattered lines, chasing ghosts in the fires of time, whispered secrets in the blackened night, fingers stained from the dawn's first light, suits and ties in the devil's court, silent deals in the shadows fought, blueprints drawn with the trembling hand, on the ashes of a dying land. Oh, the dark lights of the Atom Age, built on fear in their gilded cage, dreams of power carved in stone, burning brighter than we've ever known. Empty corridors echo their chains, steel machines screaming faceless names, science twisted into brutal art, sold the soul but kept the heart. They crossed the desert and broke the sky, bound to the weight of a hidden lie, chasing stars where the brave don't go, falling fast in the afterglow. Oh, the dark lights of the Atom Age, built on fear in their gilded cage, dreams of power carved in stone, burning brighter than we've ever known. Now their ghostly whispers shape the wind, in the smoke of what we can't rescind. Every spark we strike, they see it burn. Lessons lost that we'll never learn. Oh, the dark lights of the Atom Age, built on fear in their gilded cage, dreams of power carved in stone, burning brighter than we've ever known. Oh, the dark lights of the Atom Age, built on fear in their gilded cage, dreams of power carved in stone, burning brighter than we've ever known. Whispers in the shadows, secret deals in the haze, clutching at the genius born from fiery blaze, stolen minds in pieces pulled from foreign ground, building the machine to bring the mushroom cloud. Cross the lines, no borders, names erased by flames. In the fog of war, they called it by no names. Paper trails burning, truth a buried fight. Underneath the stars, they work through endless nights. Iron hands hold the fire, playing God with no shame. Men of science and shattered walls. Recruits of war-crazed kings bound by secret calls. Trade the fatherland for hands of Uncle Sam. Chains in different forms trap these hollowed men. Sliding down the wires, life sparks in the dark. Blueprints drawn in madness, engines find their mark. Do ethics matter when destruction shapes the ground? Progress screams in echoes as the sirens sound. Iron hands hold the fire, playing God with no shame. Men of science paint skies with a terrible flame. Operation whispers, soul shift in the night, in the name of progress. Dark becomes the light. flows like blood from open veins. Blueprints rise on ambitions untamed. The earth quakes where guilt is proclaimed. Smoke spirals up in the melting dawn. Ashes of men, but the world moves on. Scientists bound, but history's pawn. Machines of terror leave their mark upon. no flags to call their own. Silent deals in smoky rooms, secrets built of stone. Brains that fled the firing line, dreams burned in the sand. Cross the lines into the void with blood upon their hands. Wires hum with whispered truths, machines that tear the sky. Rocket dreams in foreign tongues, reaching where gods lie. Portals to destruction's thrill, hands grip tight to fate. Paperclip binds them to us, the reaper stands to wait. Lines blur, rules break, the bleeding clock ticks. Atoms collide under cold paperclip tricks. The end's creation lies in their minds, steal humanity's shadow, signed and sealed. Traitors now or saviors then, the lines can never tell. Pawns of power, walking path straight into a hell. The ash that fell, the world that split, it's all that we recall. Ghosts of men with glassy eyes who dared to take it all. Burning trails in the twilight sky, promises they swore. Betrayed the earth they called their own to touch a deadly core. Each defection, every turn, a piece of fate retires. A star is born that burns the flesh in infernal pyres. Lines blur, rules break, the bleeding clock ticks. Atoms collide under cold paperclip tricks. The end's creation lies in their minds, steal humanity's shadow, signed and sealed. In the dark it sparked a life, from stone and stick a burning knife. Lit the skies a rebel call, chased the shadow, made 'em crawl. Oh fire, oh wild flame, from the past you carved your name. Through the ash, through the smoke, always rise, it never broke. Fed the hunger, fed the fight, torches blazing through the night. Wheels rolled on with your hot breath, steam and steel, you laughed to death. Oh fire, oh raging king, born to make the cold heart sing. From the caves to the steel spear, you're the heart that beats the fear. Now your roar's trapped in the wire, caged in walls, electric fire. Tame the beast, but still it grows. In the circuits, the ember glows. Now your roar's trapped Man might think he holds your leash, but chaos swims beneath the breach. Still you whisper ancient tongues, a fiery hymn where life begun. Now your roar's trapped in the wire, caged in walls, electric fire. Tame the beast, but still it grows. In the circuits, the ember glows. Now your roar's trapped in the wire, caged in walls, electric fire. Tame the beast, but still it grows. In the circuits, the ember glows.
Gentlemen, we've been briefed on the progress of this atomic bomb project. I understand we have a weapon that could change the course of the war, but I need to hear it from all of you. What is the real potential here?
Mr. President, the bomb is, without question, an unprecedented weapon. We've tested it, and it's capable of obliterating entire cities in an instant. The destruction would be total, but it may be the only way to end the war before we have to invade Japan itself.
It could end the war in a matter of days, not months. The Japanese are dug in, and their will to fight hasn't diminished. Our conventional strategies would still cost thousands of lives.
And what of the cost to us? What are we talking about in terms of collateral damage?
Mr. President, the bomb could give us the upper hand, no doubt. We're fighting a determined enemy here, and they show no signs of surrendering. This can force their hand.
We're talking about civilians here. Entire populations. What are we willing to sacrifice, Doctor?
There's no easy answer to that, sir. The devastation would be immense, but if we don't use it now, how many more lives, American, Allied, and Japanese alike, will be lost in a prolonged conflict? The bomb is the weapon that could bring this nightmare to an end.
Mr. President, it's not just about defeating Japan. This is about sending a clear message to the world. Our enemies will know that we now have the ultimate weapon, and they'll be forced to reconsider any future aggression.
I understand the strategic importance, but I can't help but wonder about the moral implications. Have we crossed the line?
Sir, sometimes we have to make hard choices in war. This enemy is relentless, and the cost of continuing to fight will only escalate. This option could save lives in the long run.
In our pursuit of victory, we've created something that no one could have imagined. The question now is whether we can live with it.
I don't take this lightly. But if we do this, we need to be absolutely certain it is the only way. I'll need to consult with the Allies. We cannot act unilaterally here.
Of course, Mr. President, but the clock is ticking.
We'll move forward, but cautiously. But know this. This decision will weigh heavily on us for the rest of our lives. And far beyond, I'm afraid.
The sky was red, like bleeding veins. Minds were scorched with fear and chains. Steel mouths screaming, fire and ash, echoes of the blast, no questions asked. Mirrors cracked, but why can't we see the cost of rage to eternity? Smoke clouds hide the shame we bear, the open wounds still lingering there. Oh, the hands that built the flame, the hands that held the shame. We spin the wheel, we roll the die. Will the earth burn? Will the rivers die? The ghost of reason whispers soft steel hearts have long been lost. A quiet warning buried in sand, but still we torch this broken ram.